All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our week 4 of our Director Bound program. I hope y'all have been enjoying this program. This is a great program to be a part of, even if you've been a part of it before, like I have. It's just a great basics for our business. So let me get our screen shared here, and we can get going. Okay, there we go. Now, why isn't this? There we go. Okay, so did everybody have an awesome week of post coaching last week? Maybe not on Thursday, but like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Maybe even a little texting and Facebook messaging? Yes? I hope so. Anybody have any stories to tell? Anything that you want to share? What's worked for you? No? I asked for you guys not to be in a turkey coma, right? I think some of us are still in leftover mode, right? Just a side note, Thanksgiving egg rolls, very good. So if you have turkey and stuff left over, grab some egg rolls. All right, no stories to share about host coaching? All right, I just want to encourage you guys, so important, and hopefully for each of your shows, you're asking every host. You're asking every host if she's thought about joining your team, if she's thought about doing something like you're doing, because they are really our first line as far as prospects and leads. So make sure you're host coaching. Did you guys add any November, December bookings to your calendars? Maybe raise your hand, thumbs up. I know some of you are on mute. No? Okay, before we start the recording, I will say, I mentioned that this is the time of year. It's so easy sometimes. The days can get away from you, but really touch your business every day. Do something, whether it's reaching out via text or a phone call or a message to a past host or past customer. Check in and see how you can help them, okay? All right. Now, is everybody keeping track of their leads? Yes? Everybody have a log? Whether it's a little book like this, it's a small one that you can take with you. It might be a page in your calendar. It might be on your cell phone. Hopefully everybody's keeping a log. Your booking leads technically can be your recruit leads as well. You understand that, right? Okay. All right. We'll move right along. All right. Is everybody doing the 3, 2, 1? Granted, I'm not saying that you would have done it on Thursday. Yes? Thumbs up? You're not doing 3, 2, 1? If you're doing 3, 2, 1, thumbs up. Give me something. Come on. All right. Good job. What's up, Barb? Laurel, good job. All right. So here's the thing, and I do love this quote. This is one of my favorites. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you don't ask your host if she wants to join your team, she's not going to join your team. If you don't ask that customer at your party that's at the edge of her seat if she wants to have a party, not going to have it. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never get it. If you don't step forward, you're always going to be in the same spot. So keep that in mind, okay? Share something that you learned from the homework. Did anybody do the homework? Did anybody listen to Make It Impactful? Yes? James, did you? I thought I saw you nodding. Do you have a little aha, a little something you want to share? That would be awesome.
Just to always stay excited. That way, if you're excited, then your host will be excited, or your guest will be excited.
It's true. That's true. I'm trying to be excited. Are you guys excited? But that is very true. And you got to be the excited person in the room, right? Who else? Somebody else said something? On our phone. Who's on the phone? Who's doing this from the phone?
Me, Amber.
Hi, Amber.
I learned I need to get my shows closed quicker.
Good point. What made you
because I will. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I need to get my shows closed quicker because I will let them. Oh, I have one more person or 2 more people that need an order, and I'll wait, and then that's just a delay of service. So.
True. And part of that, to be honest, part of that can kind of come in your host coaching ahead of time. You know, maybe that's something that you add to your checklist when you're talking to the host, even on number 2, like on call number 2 or contact number 2, when you say to her something like, okay, listen, Amber, I'm so excited about our party. Now, some people are not going to be able to come at the last minute. So go ahead and try to get those orders ahead of time rather than after the party. You will have a couple of days after the party to follow up, but let's try to get those ahead of time. So just incorporate that into the host coaching. So it's a good realization. Good that you realize that. And that is going to help provide customer service. It's going to help people be excited because they're going to get their products quicker, right? Okay.
Right.
So sharing the opportunity is actually a 3-step process. And it needs to start right away, really from the show that you meet the customer. The 3-step process is the inform, the invite, and the opportunity chat, or the interview. Sometimes you'll hear it called. Now, what we're going to be talking about tonight is the first 2, the inform and the invite. They are 2 very different things. And the invite even might be a little different than what you first think about as we're talking. So let's talk first about the difference between informing and inviting. Okay, I'm not going to read this to you necessarily, but what you have to realize is that at your parties, you're giving people information about our products, about our recipes, but also about our business and obviously the opportunity to host a show. You're going to want to give them lots of information in order to pique an interest. And you want to make sure that you are giving them enough information that you really are piquing the interest of not just one person in the crowd, but a variety of people. So you'll want to give information kind of like this. Like, for instance, when you tell your story of how you started Pampered Chef, you're going to want to inform people when you are dropping little seeds throughout your demonstration or throughout your opening. You might say something like, oh my gosh, this manual food processor is excellent. It came in my kit. Or I love this Rock Crock Everyday Pan. I got it as part of my kit. It might be something like, oh my gosh, this Decor Baker is fantastic. I'm so excited that as a new consultant, I get to be earning this month. Or I'm so excited that when you join my team this month, you could earn this as a bonus just for signing up. So those are little seeds that you're planting throughout your demonstration. You might be going over the questions on the survey slip at the end. It could be on your virtual parties, it could be like the posts, the posts that say, I love being a consultant because, and you just give one of the reasons, the flexibility, the trips, the free products, or the discounted items. It might be the post that you make on your virtual party showing the new kits and asking, which of these is your favorite? What products do you see in these kits? You're also informing when you're doing an activity like the ticket activity, or you're doing the pass the product, or you're doing some of those activities or games at the end. Anytime that you post on a virtual party wanting guests to engage you in questions, asking you questions, that is informing. Inviting is not necessarily asking somebody to sell. In fact, inviting has nothing to do with asking them to be a consultant. It has to do with inviting them to learn more about our business, inviting them to see if Pampered Chef might be a good fit for they and their family. So it's not necessarily inviting them to sell. Because when you jump right from kind of informing, asking them to sell, it's almost like you're trying to sell something when you don't really necessarily know who you're trying to sell to, if that makes sense. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. What you'll be inviting them to do is just to take a little closer look. Maybe you're inviting them to a coffee. Maybe you're inviting them for a Coke, or offering to, hey, let's get together for some coffee, see if this might be a good fit for you. Make sense? Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, here are different times during your demonstration or your party that you can inform. During the group hello, or a lot of times we call that the opening, when you're just getting started, and on a virtual party, you might be asking people to share who they are and how they know the host. At a live party, some people do introductions, some people don't, but a lot of times what I do is just ask them kind of general questions. Who likes to cook? Who hates to cook? Who has been to a party recently? Who hasn't? Who has never been to a party? So when you're doing that opening or that group hello, that's a good time to just inform. You might say something you might choose to tell your story a little bit at the beginning, or at least start telling your story, maybe why you got started. You might choose to tell your story at the end. Like we talked about already, they're recruiting seeds during the party. If you do station style parties, a lot of times I will do an opening on my station style party where I talk about the power tools and the stations. I always mention at least one product that came in that is part of a new consultant kit. So I can mention that at the very beginning, because I like to do that at the beginning when you have everybody's full attention, right, before they start breaking up. Now, you're also going to want to sprinkle things throughout the demo. If you are doing station style, it might be in smaller groups, because as you go to different stations, you might drop a line. Maybe you see somebody doing something great. You might say, oh my gosh, you could do my job. There's always that person at a party or even on a virtual party that's really selling a product. They love that mix and chop or that food chopper or that grill pan or whatever it is they have, and they're selling it. Definitely make sure you notice that as well. Let's see here. One of the things, I really like this too, when you're talking about the Everyday Rock Crock, you might say something like, it's so versatile. I love using mine in my home. It came in my new consultant kit. So if you fall in love with this product, you can take it home today for $119. But you know what? For just another $40, you're going to get that. Try out our business. You're going to get a whole other collection of products as well. You also get that simple slicer. You're talking about some of the other products that you're using. It's a great way to let them know, oh my gosh, I love this product. I get this plus so much more. And then you can kind of say, we'll just talk more about that in a bit. The nice thing you're doing there is you're getting them excited, but you're not giving them too much information at one time. Let them process a little bit. Make sense? Yes? Okay. The other thing, at the confident close, if you're doing station style parties, it might be the shop and share. On virtual parties, it might be that ask me anything post, but at the very end. So those are the 3 times that you're really going to want to make sure you take time to inform. Okay. One thing that you want to do too is definitely watch for red flag questions. Has anybody heard any of these questions at a party before? And I see Laura saying, yeah. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, they just care so much about me. They're just so curious. I want to make sure, I'm doing okay. And honestly, when somebody asks you a question like this, they're probably really thinking, I wonder if this will be a good fit for me. I wonder if this is something that I could do. Have you used the red flags before? Have you seen the red flags before? Yeah? Have you heard them? So here's one way that you might want to respond. For instance, you're going to ask or answer their question. How many shows do you do per week? Well, personally, for my family, it works well for me to do 2 parties a week. Sometimes I do 3. It works for my family budget. How many can you see yourself doing? You see how you're kind of answering their question, but then you're putting it back to them. Or have you ever thought about doing something like this? If they're asking you questions like, are all your shows at night? Do you get to keep all those products? Gosh, have you thought about doing something like this? You'd be really good. You're very inquisitive. Make sense? Okay. So here's some other things too. It's not necessarily just what somebody's going to say, but it's their actions. So I know I love it when there's somebody that arrives early, especially when they arrive early saying, oh my gosh, little Joey was distracted, so I snuck out. I know they have little Joey at home. I know they need to sneak out. I know they need mom time. Or maybe it's something like, I got here early because, oh my gosh, work was so crazy today. I didn't want to go home first. I was afraid I might not leave, so maybe they're not so excited about work. So when they come early, maybe they're the person that stays late. A lot of times, maybe they're just coming early or staying late because they want to kind of check out what you're doing, kind of see what it takes to really become a consultant. They may want to talk to you as you're setting up, as you're packing up. Maybe they're offering to help you. And I find myself, sometimes I'm like, oh no, that's okay. I got a system, right? I got a system. I know where things need to go back. I know how I want to be able to unpack when I get home. But really, we need to let them help us. We need to let them see that it's really not that difficult. And we also want to just be able to keep that conversation going. keep them engaged in conversation. Okay. So when you're telling your story, don't forget to notice your audience. Who's hanging on every word as you're telling them about, oh my gosh, this is such a fun way to get out of the house a couple nights a week. Oh my gosh, this is such a fun way to be able to make my car payment. Oh my gosh, this is my fun release after a crazy day at work. You know, you'll be able to tell because they're going to be interactive when they're you're doing the demonstration. They're going to be the ones at the station style show that's showing all the other people how to do the products. They're going to be the ones during the shop and share or on the virtual parties that are really commenting and really explaining how they love a certain product or what a product is good for. So just make note as you're going through the demonstration. And then you might say something at the full service checkout like, did you realize you sold 5 of those manual food processors? You were so excited about it and sharing all these ideas. 5 people bought that manual food processor. You totally just did my job tonight. How would you like to get paid for that? Right? Let's go on. Anybody have any questions about any of these little behaviors? Sometimes the hecklers are the ones that you don't want to talk to again, but sometimes they make the best consultants, right? Anybody a heckler? Anybody out there? Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your story. There's 3 main things that you want to cover when you're telling your story. Why you got started, why you're still doing it, which those of us that have been around a while, I can tell you my why has changed several times over the year. I did mention this at the beginning. I've been doing this, December will be my 24th year. I started to learn to cook, and I'm still here because I've got kids now going to college that didn't even exist when I started my business. So it's kind of a neat way to show people. And maybe you've only been doing it 6 months. You may have started to earn the products, and now maybe you're staying because you're excited about this next trip coming up, right? But also talk about what you're excited about right now. Here's why I started. Here's why I'm still doing it. Here's why I'm excited about what's coming up. Short, relatable. The nice thing about if your why has changed, then you're kind of giving 3 reasons to look at Pampered Chef. And if you're talking about 3 reasons instead of just 1, you're going to appeal to more people. Does it make sense? Okay. All righty, let's go. So there are several ways, several recruiting activities. Now, we all know we're not going to do all of these at every party, but pick one that you love. I do a variation of the ticket game. I use a deck of cards, because then I just can take that same deck of cards. I don't even have to have all 52 cards because it's not like we're playing an actual game. But with that ticket activity, I'm just going to go over some of the highlights. The ticket activity, or you can use a deck of cards. You can set a timer for 5 minutes and just say, hey, any question you ask me about my business, you get a ticket. Those of us, I know our team does station style shows for the most part. And so we will do a kind of at the end of the demonstration, we'll say, tell us about your favorite product. Oh my gosh, you guys are using so many great products. Let's share about your product. And they get like 1 ticket or 1 card. And then we'll kind of mention, oh my gosh, you guys sound like you have a big list. Let me talk about the specials this month and the host bonus. And let me talk about the business, which of course we have sprinkled some little seeds throughout. But then we'll say, this is my favorite time. This is double or nothing. Any question you ask me about my business, you get 2 tickets or 2 cards. You ask the bonus question, you get 5. Anybody know what the bonus question is? On the side? It's how much money do you make? Because that's definitely a question that you're wanting everybody to ask. So the ticket game or card game, basically you're just letting them ask random questions. What happens if you ask a question and you hear crickets? I know you guys are on mute tonight, but I'm kind of feeling like that a little bit. But what happens is you just say something like, oh my gosh, Barb, I know you're dying to know how much it costs to get started, don't you know? And then you hand them a card, or you hand them a couple cards, or you hand them a ticket. So you get the conversation going. Oh my gosh, Tabitha, I bet you want to know how many parties you have to do each month to stay active, right? And if they don't ask the bonus questions, here's what I do. Oh my gosh, I have 2 teenagers, and the first question they ask any potential employer hasn't even been asked today. If you don't have 2 teenagers, you can just say, oh my gosh, if I was looking for a job, the first thing I would ask hasn't even been asked today, right? And that always leads to that. Pass the prize, similar idea. you have a Season's Best cookbook, or you have a citrus peeler or a Twix-A-Clip or whatever you want to have, and you started off with you just ask who has the first question, then you get the prize. And then the next person asks the question and they pass the product. And then when the timer goes off, whoever has the product wins that prize. The envelope game. I'm going to talk briefly about the envelope game, and I can certainly upload some ideas onto the group here. The envelope game I incorporate actually into every activity I do. If I'm doing pass the product, if I'm doing the ticket activity, when the question about income comes up, I say I need 3 volunteers, and I have my 3 envelopes, and I pass them out to people. And then I'll ask who has envelope number 1. And on the front of that envelope, it'll say, like, she did 3 cooking shows and 1 catalog show. And I'll explain, this is a girl on my team who worked full-time when she started her business, and she basically just worked an extra, 4 times a month, left her house 3 times a month. And her paycheck was almost $700 with leaving her house 3 times in a catalog show. And then I'll say, who has number 2? So this is that same girl who a year and a half after starting her business was able to quit her full-time job because she was making more money with Pampered Chef. Now, how much did she make in number 2? Or what did she do in number 2? And they'll say she did 9 cooking parties and 2 catalog parties. And I'll say she left her house 9 times and she did a couple catalog parties too. What was her paycheck? It was over $4,000. It was pretty sweet. And then my third one that I like to share is, we probably all know Stacy Etzel. This time, this paycheck example was from when she was an executive director. She's now a national, so this was a few years ago. And I'll even tell people, now this girl's not on my team. She is a friend. She lives in a different state. This is the reason why I stay with my business, because I know the potential that there is. And at that particular one, Stacy had done 10 live parties, 2 bridal showers, and 2 fundraisers. So I'll say the fundraisers could have been online, but she left her house at least a dozen times. I mean, her paycheck was pretty significant. It's like 10 grand for 1 month. But I like to show those 3 variations because I like to show, hey, you can have a part-time job where you're making significant income. You can turn this into a full-time career, or you can go above and beyond what most people make in the full-time workforce. So that's why I like to incorporate the envelope game and really to each one of the games when it comes to the finances, because it shows people the opportunity that there is. The Did You Know cards. Did you guys realize there are some labels on Consultants Corner that you can just print off that'll have little Did You Know statements? And they might say something like, did you know Pampered Chef Consultants can earn free products every season? Did you know Pampered Chef Consultants get discounts from places like AT&T, Sam's, Costco, and much more? I think this is a great way, especially for new consultants or those of us who want to be recruiting. It's just an easy way because it's duplicatable. So if somebody's sitting at your parties and they see, oh my gosh, that's so easy. She doesn't have to have everything memorized. We're just sharing things. So that's a great way. Has anybody used a Y bag before? So a Y bag could be like a little gift bag like is shown here. I used to use a little insulated like lunch tote. But the Y bag is where you will take and you'll put things that remind you of your business in the Y bag. Perhaps it's a rubber band that's in there. What can a rubber band represent? Flexibility. Maybe it's a little car, like a little Matchbox car you get for 88 cents. Maybe that's because, hey, I can make my car payment each month with my Pampered Chef business. Maybe it's a little airplane or a cruise ship. I'm really working on a trip from Pampered Chef. It could be, maybe it's a little toy, one of your kids' toys. Oh my gosh, this helps me pay for daycare. Or this helps me stay home with my kids. So it's a bag full of things. And you can do a few things. You can pass it around and let people guess what they think that each item means, or you have it passed around, they pull out an item and you can explain it. But it's just a great way. Another way is the recruiting slide. If you don't have the booking slide, I highly recommend it. The one side talks about all the benefits of hosting a party, and of course the other side talks about all the benefits of the business. So it's just a good tool that you can hold up, and you can engage your audience with it. Make sense? Now I've covered a lot here, but virtual parties, it's kind of the same thing. Obviously, you can't necessarily do the Y bag or be handing out tickets. but the ask me about my job post, there's a lot of fun pictures and posts that we can post in this event. I know on my virtual parties, I usually do one that goes 4 or 5 days. And so I might have 3 different posts. Why I love being a consultant, maybe it's one per day. Maybe it's the flexibility one day. Maybe it's the vacations one day. Maybe it's or whatever one day. You can do a commission check kind of game by posting, like a show me the money post, right? By talking about the perks of just even with your comment. A lot of times the virtual parties may not necessarily be a post, but if somebody's really talking about that grill pan or really loving the manual food processor or interested in that, you could always drop some little one-liners in there. The other thing is Google survey. Who all does virtual parties? Raise your hand if you're on here and you do virtual parties. James, Barb, is that you? And Tabitha? Okay, and I don't know your name, but I see it at the bottom there. So with virtual parties, are you guys using the Google survey? Raise your hand if you're using the Google survey. Okay, good. It's a great way to get feedback. For those of you that are doing the virtual parties, are you doing morning after calls or are you doing calls? We're going to get that in a minute. That's personally, I think on virtual parties, that's where I kind of drop the ball a little bit. Tomorrow, actually, my plan is I had several virtual and catalog parties I need to make calls to afterwards. Here are some of the posts that you can find on Consultants Corner. I love these posts. They're so professional looking. Well, they are very professional looking because they're very professional, and it just shows the support we have too. This is always a great one to put on any event, whether it's for a virtual party or maybe an event to go alongside. I love this one, right? And this is true for us even as consultants already. Like a year from today, you know, you don't want to be like, I wish I had done that Director Bound program last year. Because you're in it now. Okay, I'm sure you've seen a variation of this as well. This is a really good one to do as far as asking questions on a virtual party. Okay, this is great. This is one of those things where I've even shared this picture with my kids before. You want something in your life you've never had, you'll have to do something that you've never done. And I actually have on my wall back here, it says, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten, right? So if you want change to happen, you got to make change happen by changing things up, okay? And this is a great one too. This one I think you need to post on every event that you have. Maybe even before the event starts, there's room at the table. And this can have a lot of different meanings, right? Okay, have you seen the apron posts? These are great ones to put on because it shows the variation. It shows all the different options you have. And as you're posting this one, I like this one too. This one's a relatively new one for me. I hadn't seen this one until just recently. But it shows that, oh my gosh, I could really do this as a hobby. Because if somebody knows you, like for me, I do this is my full-time income. And they need to realize, see, just because you have to be a Pampered Chef consultant doesn't mean you have to, you know, quit your full-time job. I just didn't like my full-time job, so that's why it was easy for me to quit, right? Okay, so this is a great, I like the presentation of this. I like how it shows the different types of opportunities that we offer, okay? So what we're gonna do now, this is all informing. Anybody have any questions about informing? We've got like another minute or so left, but I got more information than that. A little bit longer. Anybody have any questions about informing? Does it make sense? Yes? I'm looking ahead and not seeing anybody nodding. Oh yeah, thanks Barb. Okay, so now let's talk about inviting. What did I say inviting was it inviting them to sell? What are we gonna invite them to do? I see Barb's lips moving, and I read her lips that she's asking if they want more information. I think is what she said. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Full service checkout. Full service checkout is something that I will say it's easy to skip, especially if you have one of those parties that you feel like you kind of lost control. You know, I always like to let people know, hey, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be over here. We're going to do your order. You come and see me. You need to see me before you check out. I don't know if everybody's using Express Party Checkout. I would totally recommend it for sure. But you can just let people know, I need to talk to you before you leave. I want to make sure we have all your order correct and we get your free gift if necessary. Now, are you going to say the exact same thing to every person at the checkout? No. But you do want to ask everybody. So it might be one of those things where when you're doing the ticket activity, when you're sharing your story, and you're going to notice those people. And hopefully, I use name tags at all my parties, my live parties. So hopefully you're using name tags because then you can really try to remember, okay, Barb was the one that was excited about the food processor. Or, okay, Tabitha was the one that had so many questions. Or, James is the one that was over there selling that grill pan. So I'm gonna try to remember that. So I might say something like, oh my gosh, you sold to me those food processors. When are you gonna join my team? When can we talk about seeing if this is, when can we sit down and see if this might be a good fit for you and your family, right? You might say something like, maybe somebody that you couldn't really read, maybe you say, oh my gosh, when we were doing the ticket game, what interested you the most? What caught your attention, right? So you're just gonna ask them, have you ever thought about doing something like this? If they say yes, you might say, well, do you have more questions or are you just ready to order your kit? Because you can totally sign somebody up the night of the party. You know that, right? Here, they have their phone there. You can set them up. Well, most of the time, they're going to say, I shouldn't say most of the time. For me, I have signed a couple people at parties, but usually they have more questions. And so then what I do is I try to get them set up within that next 24, 48 hours. And try to the next day if you can. Maybe you can meet them for coffee, you can meet them for a tea or a Coke. Something like that. You're going to want to make sure you talk about that. If they say no, you totally need to qualify what that no means. Is that no, not now, or no, not ever? Most of the time they'll chuckle and say, oh my gosh, I'm just so busy right now, I can't even think of another thing until after Christmas. Right? So be sure you're asking qualifying questions. You're going to make sure you're not going to assume what they mean by no. Okay? They're going to be times you're going to be like, oh my gosh, no way. I never in a million years would do this. That's totally fine. They might be a great host or they'd be a great customer for life, right? So if they say no, that's totally okay. You might ask, let's get some friends together and have some fun at your house. If I have somebody who says, no, definitely not that either, then you can say, no worries. I would love to be your consultant for life. Add me to your phone as Pampered Chef Christy. There's my number. If you have any questions down the road or something changes, you know how to reach me. Right? So everything's really ending on a positive. Just because they say no doesn't mean it has to end on a negative. Right? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the 24-hour call to hosts. So let's say you book parties at your party, right? And this is really true for the virtual party too. Sometimes the virtual party, when I book somebody a virtual party, I'll ask them, I'd like to talk to you at least once. What's the best time of day to talk to you? Most of our communication can be over message, but I do like to talk to all my hosts at least once. But here's the 24-hour call to people that book a show. Okay? Just want to give you a quick call. Thank you for booking a party with me. We're going to have a great time. Is this date going to work for you? You have it in your calendar, so you're just confirming, right? I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I have not. Okay, there we go. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I have not been able to stop thinking about you. You've been on my mind. I think you'd be a great consultant. I'd love to get together for a cup of coffee, tell you a little bit more about our business, see if it might be a good fit for you. You might be like, no way. You might say, you know what, no worries. Just think about it, because this could be your grand opening party. So you're just dropping a little seed, okay? So that's the 24-hour call to host. What about the morning after call? Does anybody do Big Mac calls? It doesn't have to be the morning after. I know a lot of you may have full-time jobs and things. But I can drop the ball on this too, especially when things get busy. This is probably not the priority that it should be for me, but it is becoming the priority. But this is when you're going to call the next day. I just want to give you a quick call to say thank you for coming last night to Julie's party. Did you have fun? What was your favorite part? Now, obviously, if you didn't mention it last night, because there are some parties that people leave before you get a chance to talk to them. Maybe they've given you the order or dropped the order and you haven't had a chance to talk to them. Maybe it's just a crazy party and you haven't had a chance to do the full service checkout like you really wanted to. So this is where you can do it as well. Make sense? So you're either doing what you should have done at the party last night, or you're just kind of reiterating or confirming what you saw in them. Sometimes I think you can really have their more full attention when you can call them and talk to them on the phone afterwards. Okay. Now, if they say yes, you're certainly going to set up a time to meet with them. If they say no, we already talked about this, you're going to offer a show. If they say no to that, offer to be their consultant for life. They'll appreciate that as well. Now, here's the thing that I try to incorporate this in my closing. I like to say something like, I really enjoyed being with you guys tonight. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little better. But even after spending this hour with you, I still don't know who lays awake at night worrying about how they're going to pay the bills the next day. I still don't know who cried this morning leaving the baby at daycare. I don't know who needs friends and joy in their life. I don't know who is afraid to retire because they're afraid of what their financial plan might look like. I don't know who just found out their kid needs braces. Because I don't know this, I want to make sure you all realize what Pampered Chef has to offer. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't know this. And so, no, even by the clothes somebody on, you might assume they have money, but you don't know if their husband just left them or if they just got fired from their good job. You don't know that unless you ask. And those are situations, both of them over the years, that I have experienced with people, not me, but with people. Right? Okay, so make sure that you're asking everyone. Make sure. And this is a fun one. I've got bills, they're multiplying. You need to be posting that on. That's a great visual for a virtual party, isn't it? Can anybody relate to our friend Danny here? Right? And it's a good conversation starter. And you can even post some of these things. Hey, I don't know who out here. Maybe just post a few of those things. And just say, hey, you know what? If you don't want to post it out here on a comment, message me. Encourage them to message you privately on those virtual parties. Okay? All right. If you were at a party, if you had people over your house and you had your tray of cookies, right? You had your tray of cookies. And would I walk around and just, Tabitha, would you like a cookie? Barb, would you like a cookie? Would I skip James and go to Laurel? No. I'm going to offer James some cookies too. Now, honestly, if you're a cookie monster, you wouldn't be offering anybody cookies because you can be eating them all, right? But the point is, you're not going to just offer some people a snack or a drink. You're going to offer everybody. And we need to offer everybody the business opportunity because we don't know. We don't know what people are experiencing. Okay? And these are just some recaps. We're executive bound. I mean, this team of directors that are putting on these two series, the 6 Weeks to Success and this Director Bound, we want to grow. We want to help you all grow. That's our main goal. Because guess what? We can't do this on our own. And we want to help you all to achieve your goals too. So make sure that you keep that in mind. I might have to post this on here too. You can print it out, put it up on by your desk, because we honestly are the best team ever. Okay. Here's a call to action. You're going to want to practice recruiting messages and activities that you're going to do at parties. Okay. And say them out loud. And I can post some of these screens on our event page too, so that you can see some of those. And anytime there's scripts that you might get from somebody, whether it's a post you're going to make on your wall or it's something that you're going to say out loud, tweak it and make it your own. Tweak it and make it your own. We all have a little different way of saying things, but make it your own. So very, very important to practice something out loud before you do it at a party. Find somebody on your team or in your area that's a strong recruiter and ask if you can go to a party to observe. Offer opportunity to everybody at full service checkout and do those phone calls within 24 hours. Make 15 contacts a week outside of parties. It's kind of like your 3 contacts a day, right? 3 a day times 5 is 15 contacts. Power hour for bookings and recruiting. Does anybody do the power hours? Everybody's clear on what a power hour is, correct? Yes. Okay. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a whole hour. If you have 20 minutes, have your contact list, have your rolling contact list ready to go. So if you have 15 minutes, you can have 15 uninterrupted minutes to make calls. Now, here's your homework as far as what to listen to, and this is a fantastic one. Brenda Copy is one of my friends, and she's amazing. Genevieve Black, I've met her. She's great too. Top Recruiters Tell All. They are funny and very informative, and these ladies know how to share our business effectively. So this is how you can find it. I will post this on the event, so be sure to check back so you can know how to get there. But it's basically PCU and the resources, so I will post that as well. Keep your eyes on the goal. Okay, keep your eyes on the goal. And remember too that you don't have to have 5 personally recruited people to actually accept that directorship. You're going to want to continue recruiting. You don't want to ever stop, because that would be kind of selfish not to offer this to everybody. But once you have a person or 2 on your team, help them share the business as well. And I know your directors will be doing that same thing, to keep your eye on the goal. And then just a reminder of some of the little promotions. So your individual director, whoever invited you to this program, for every $12.50 in sales that you submit, and that was from September 1st to the middle of December, you're going to get 15 Pampered Chef dollars for every new consultant that you recruit. And then when you meet the requirements of director by December 1st, $100 cash gift. That's pretty sweet. Who's excited? Very excited? Yay! All right, does anybody have?
Can you repeat?
Yep.
Can you repeat that last part, what you just said about promoting by December 1st?
Yes, I can. Amber, how many people do you have on your team?
I have 8 total. 2 are inactive.
Okay, that's awesome. So are you a new director then?
I will be by December 1st. That's why I'm asking.
Awesome. Who's your director?
I signed under Angela Sweeney, and Chantel Goff is
Yay!
my upline.
Oh, exciting. Okay, so when you meet the requirements of director by December 1st, then you're going to earn a $100 cash gift. And so just to recap for our recording, is this not recording? Just to recap, requirements of director is 5 active consultants plus you. You have to have at least $750 in sales. And then what does the total team have to have? 5,000.
5,000.
I see lips moving. I love it. I'm reading lips. 5,000. So yeah. So if you meet those this month, so if you have at least 5 of your people active, are they all active? You said 6 of them are active already this month?
Yeah, I will have 5. It's 5 plus me, right?
Yes, 5 plus you. So there's 6 of you total,
Okay.
And you're gonna have a total of $5,000, and at least $750 of it has to be yours. But I'm telling
Well, 3,000 is me. So yeah.
Yay! That's exactly what you're gonna. Honestly, that's exactly what you want to do as a new director, is just kind of carry at least half of that yourself. We have Cyber Monday tomorrow. We have a whole week really left. We have like 4 days left, 4 full days left. So that's exciting, Amber. That's awesome. Yay!
Do you know? Don't I also get the director, the fall line?
Yes.
Don't you also?
Yes. So as a new director, when you promote to director, whatever the previous new products were, you will get at the director package of those. So that's a pretty cool perk. And then of course you'll get the spring ones too. Yay. Oh, Kristen, I just see you. I see some new people that weren't on before. Okay. So any other questions? No? Thanks for joining. I am very excited for you all. Hopefully, and here's the thing. Those of you that maybe you're not at the cusp of directorship right now, keep working. Keep doing what you're doing, because each step that you take is going to get you closer to that goal. Remember what we talked about at the very beginning? Don't take action. You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be in the same spot. You don't want to be in the same spot. Right? Want to keep moving forward. All right, I'm going to stop the recording here, and I will post the homework, and I'll post some of those pictures and things onto our event page so you can have access to those.